我々が日本で映像を見ていたあの諦まれが戻ってきた。デーブ・ロバーツ監督のこの言葉が全てを物語っています。疑念、不安、苦闘の日々を乗り越えた23歳の天才は本当に向こう側へたどり着いたのか。あなたの意見もコメントでぜひ聞かせてください。高評価、チャンネル登録もお願いします。
Growing member of our John Boy Media community, thanks to Shopify. All right. Dodgers ran right over the Halos in their freeway series, taking 2 out of 3. Good for the southern part of LA. They did salvage something on Sunday with a big win. Friday night, though, the big news was Freddie Freeman had the walk-off homer, but the headliner might have been Roki Sasaki, who ate up the Angels for a second time this season.
Another 0-2, and another strikeout for Roki Sasaki. 10 for the first time in his career. Sasaki will be arriving tonight. Best game of his career, Roki Sasaki. That's all he does against the Angels.
This is the guy that we saw in video in Japan, and that we hope to get. I think that we're all guilty of expecting it to be seamless, and certainly unfair to Roki. And not appreciating that there has to be some transition period, and he's went through some tough times and some doubts, but he's gotten to the other side.
I want to focus on the last line by Dave Roberts. Has Roki gotten to the other side?
Yeah, because I think there's some tangible things you can point to, and he's right. Like, I don't think we gave him any sort of grace period coming over from Japan. We just expect him to be Shohei or Yamamoto, that's just not always the case. And what we've seen, though, is a few mechanical adjustments that have kind of unlocked some velo for him. And he ditched his forkball for a splitter. Those strikeouts were showing there. That pitch is disgusting, Chris. You're not going to hit that. So the velo's bumped up not only on his fastball, which he was touching 100, averaging 98. But the forkball used to be around 84 miles an hour, so kind of like a big difference. Mm-hmm. And as a hitter, you can kind of see that out of the hand a little bit better, helps you recognize the pitch. The splitter is playing up upwards of 90, 91 miles an hour, so the velo's a little closer together, and it's just moving like crazy. He's reshaped his slider, like all these things that he's done, he's turning into like Dave said, someone that they saw on tape what they imagined. So is it there for good? I think everyone wants to see a little bit more starts. I mean, last 4 starts he's been really, really good, and there is evidence that it's not just a random 4 games. Like, he's gotten better because of the velo. So I'd say, yeah, I think like the Dodgers need it. I think that he has changed, and I think we are going to start to see more starts like this. Maybe not as dominant as this all the time, but think about the fact that they have him for another, 5 more years, Chris?
Under control.
It's more just they got too many good pitchers.
Yeah, and I thought Dave Roberts made a point, which we have tried to harp on whenever guys come over, excuse me, and it's not just Japan. I mean, it's guys who are young guys maybe from the Dominican or Venezuela or wherever you could be from around the world. There is an adjustment. And we say it all the time. How would you be if you got dropped off in another country at a young age? And Roki was 23 when he got over here. And there were times where he did look scared. Like, he looked like, my God, what have I gotten myself into? And you can totally understand that. Totally. Some of these other guys are more polished. Maybe they have bigger personalities. Like when Shota got over here, Shota was like, bring it on. I want to be a part of all of it, right? Murakami seems as confident as can be the minute he got over here, and he's been a big part of what they've done on the south side of Chicago. But everybody's different, so I'm happy that Dave brought that point out publicly. I thought that was an important one.
Pickett continues, guys. Back to the Angels series. Sunday got away from the Dodgers. A very short Sheehan start. Emmett Sheehan, that is 1 1/3 innings. What do you guys see? Katie, we'll start with you. Emmett Sheehan, I mean, it's bound to happen to everybody. What did you see?
I think all across the board, a bad game was due for everyone involved. For Emmett Sheehan, I understand the quick trigger with Dave Roberts. No manager is going to let any starter throw 40-plus pitches in an inning. So to get him out of there, certainly disappointing, but I'm really not going to put too much stock into it because Emmett Sheehan has looked really good. He's coming off arguably his best start against the D-backs. He was due for a clunker. The Dodgers bullpen also due for a clunker. They've been so good, lights out in May. We talked about that scoreless streak. They've hit a little bit of a slide here, but that's to be expected. I'm not overwhelmingly worried about either party. I think it was just a bad game.
Get towards welcoming Josh Norris in a second to talk about prospects. A lot of people really want to see River Ryan at the big league level. Do you think there's going to be a point where the Dodgers maybe, I don't even know if there's a concern level when it comes to Sheehan, but do you want to start seeing what River Ryan can give you again at the big league level? They've only seen 4 games 3 years ago at this point, I think it is. You kind of need to see what you have in this dude so you know whether or not you need to be active, exceptionally active at the trade deadline, maybe move some of the prospects we're going to talk about shortly in a deal for a Tarek Skubal. Yes, I mentioned it this time. I hate talking about the Skubal trade stuff.
Not coming. It's not happening.
Is it sort of like a grass is maybe greener on the other side with River Ryan time?
Well, Clint, thank you for the perfect segue for me to promote our newest mailbag on The Athletic. Myself, Fabian Ardaya, answered all your Athletic subscriber questions. So part 1 is up today. Part 2 is up tomorrow. And wouldn't you know it, you all want to know where the heck River Ryan is. And I understand, because when you look at the potential of this player and River Ryan's ceiling, I think he's probably, I'll call him a prospect, the most exciting prospect in the Dodger system right now. But there is a big difference between building up a player or a pitcher from a pitch limit workload to building up a foundation. Right now, River Ryan in AAA has 6 innings on lock. I think he's back-to-back starts of 6 innings. He's had the pitch count. He has built up to a starting pitcher's workload at the major league level. Where the Dodgers feel he has not built up is his foundation with his strength and making sure that he can avoid injury for the long term. River Ryan, unfortunately, so far, career has been there's been a lot of injuries there. Yeah. The Dodgers want to make sure that when he comes up to the majors, because we will see River Ryan at some point this season, he's there to stay. There is no good rushing him up after 4 starts in the minors when this is a guy who has thrown 100-plus innings just once in his professional career, and he has not had a lot of innings over the last 2 seasons combined, Tommy John aside, so 23-24. You're building him up more than just your can you take a start every week workload. You're working up the long-term foundation. So they're going to keep him in AAA until they believe they can get there, because they think that River Ryan can be a true weapon for them in the second half of the season, at least in the rotation, and maybe even depending how that bullpen looks like coming out of relief. Can you imagine River Ryan in a short stint and that velo? But there's no good in having that if you risk it in June coming up when they don't necessarily need him. They signed or they traded for Eric Lauer for a reason. They want to make sure that River Ryan is full strength, ready to go to be a legitimate threat for the long term. They need that much more in September than they do in June. So I hate this word of the fan. We've talked about this before. Patience is required with River Ryan, but when we talk about him being built up, I strongly encourage everyone to look at the other definition of being built up, because yes, he is built to a pitching limit or a pitching innings workload, but the Dodgers want to see more of that strength, more of that foundation, so that when he comes up, he has the less chance of getting injured again.
Yeah.
Josh, as many times as people are talking about Tibbs and wondering when we're going to see him, I think on the pitching side, people are continuing to clamor for River Ryan. He's in the club's top 30, but he's not in Major League Baseball's top 100. But it feels like you can make an argument about him being one of the better pitching prospects in baseball. Are we too high on him? What are we missing when it comes to River Ryan, if anything?
Well, I think Katie just kind of, her soliloquy there kind of summed up everything I'm going to say, which is, he hadn't been going very long in the games. His injury history precedes him. He's, I think he's at 24 innings right now, which is 4 innings of the total he threw 2 years ago. So the dance they're going to have to do is getting him up not only to a big league starter's workload, or at least a bulk reliever's workload, but getting him to the point where they can be comfortable with him eventually going 100 innings or 150 innings. He too had injury issues this year. So that's the thing. You got to keep him healthy. The stuff is unquestioned, but it's keeping him healthy. And it's hard to see right now getting to a point where he can consistently go, 5-6 innings an outing if you need him. I understand he's been going 6 innings each of his last 2, but how does that workload look once you get into July and August and you're bumping up against more innings than he's thrown in a while? It's kind of a tough needle that Dodgers pitching development people have to thread. So I'm interested to see where it goes. And that's another guy that I do expect in the big leagues at some point this year. And I don't expect to be writing about him next year because he's got, 30 something innings that he's under his belt or however many days to graduate from consideration. So I do expect there's a lot fewer guys that I'm going to be writing about this coming year than I wrote about this year.
Josh, I covered the Cardinals for 5 years, so I have
in the big leagues within the next year.
Josh, everyone's talking about a Tarek Skubal to the Dodgers trade. I don't know that that's going to happen, but if it were going to happen, if Detroit in fact was going to send Skubal someplace else, what do you think makes the most sense in terms of farm pieces that would go in terms of that type of haul? Would it be the Dodgers, or do you perhaps see another team that makes more sense?
Oh, I mean, there's any number of teams that can play at this table. The Dodgers can obviously say, hey, Detroit, pick 2 of your outfielders, and maybe if you really like it, one of those young controllable starters that isn't a prospect anymore, but, certainly has value. The Brewers can play at that table. Who else? There's a lot of other guys. I think the Cardinals could probably do it too. There's any number of
ここまで見てくれたあなた、本当にありがとう。この動画が少しでも面白かったら、コメントで意見を聞かせてください。そして高評価、シェア、チャンネル登録も忘れずに、次の動画でまた一緒に野球の熱狂を味わいましょう。